Hey guys, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with successfulblackwoman.com. I'm here with my good friend Shaquita Graham with atechoweb.com. How are you doing today, Shaquita?
I'm doing good. This topic it's a bit upsetting, to say the least, Noma.
Okay, so the topic is coming out of Chicago, where a mother is suing Chicago public schools because her 6-year-old was handcuffed at school. And brace yourself. The transgression is that this little girl apparently took some candy that she was not supposed to have, or that the teacher thought she shouldn't have. And they thought that the best way to handle that situation is to put a little girl in handcuffs. Shaquita, you have the article, so you could share a little bit more information about it.
Yeah, let me share the screen. Okay, so this sweet young lady, Madison Moore here, was handcuffed with her hands behind her back. This is from, this is the article at The Roots. Handcuffed for taking candy. Let's see, he was pulling Madison from under the stairs when her mother came in, and from what I understand.
You read the sentence just before that?
Okay. Warlow told the station that her child was left alone under the stairwell by the boilers for more than an hour. He was pulling Madison from under the stairs with her hands behind her back. I don't know how long she was under there, but she was sweating. She had on a jacket. It was warm outside. And Warlow said that the security guard told her that he was teaching the child an effing lesson. He said, "I'm teaching her an effing lesson. She took a piece of candy and I handcuffed her under the stairs." All right. So they're suing. This is battery. This is false imprisonment. You know, all of those extra charges that they throw on Black people anytime you do anything. You know, they can't seem to figure out what charges to hold against these criminals. So there it is.
You know, Shaquita, one of the things that I know, I'm not a child psychologist or an early childhood education expert, but this is one thing I know, okay? A child up until they're 7 years old barely has the ability to reason. We cannot even take for granted that the child completely understands right from wrong in terms of, should I take the candy or shouldn't I? And if I don't, what's going to happen and so forth. They don't have that ability to predict what can happen when they can't control their impulses. So this is a 6-year-old. I'm not saying that kids can't be taught how to behave and can't be taught right from wrong up at that age, but we have to take into consideration that there's a little girl. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I don't know why they don't have protocols in the school in terms of how to handle behavior that they don't want. There should be protocols. In other words, you can tell a little girl that if you do this, then you go on a timeout or that kind of thing, where of course what they're doing is either encouraged or discouraged based on how they react to it. I don't understand why the school doesn't have those protocols. The third thing that I know people are going to get mad at me for is I'm willing to bet that by the time this little girl was taken, handcuffed, and thrown under the stairs and treated this way, there were indicators that there was something wrong with that school, and her mother still put her in that school.
Okay, so there's a lot to be said here. Number one, the school has a protocol, and the protocol is called white supremacy. And that is what they practice day in and day out. It's not a matter of training. It's not a matter of not understanding. It's a matter of understanding that Black people, you have a right to harm Black people under the system of white supremacy. That includes man, woman, and child. And that is the thing that we don't understand when we send our kids to these schools. That's the thing that I didn't understand when I paid to send my kids to private schools Christian schools, and all kinds of schools, that all of these schools are under the umbrella of white supremacy. So I cannot expect justice in a system of injustice. So we are going to keep seeing this, as well as the other things that we are seeing, because we are voluntarily being subjected to institutions that we know are not for us, were not built for us, and have no intention of catering to us or treating us with any type of kindness. So that's one thing. And it's actually good news that we have the freedom to homeschool our children. And yes, we get a lot of people saying thank you for sharing, what we share about this on our platforms. You at the Black Business School and the Black Homeschool, me at a TechCo Web where I have technically teaching. But then we have those who say, this is unreasonable. How can you say that people should be doing this because it's too hard? Okay, so this is the thing. As a mother and as a Black woman, we have a responsibility to the Black community and to our kids and our families. And we cannot, under any circumstances, justify giving our children into the hands of people who will harm them. And that's what I had to come to. Even though I wanted to go to my job and have all kinds of flexibility, because my kids were in a babysitter environment, in a sense, at the school, I had to say, no, I'm going to take responsibility for my kids. And I'm not going to, number one, get put in jail because Becky handcuffed my child under a stairwell. And number two, make my child subject to Becky, who I know wants to harm them. So let's just start there, Noma. I mean, what more can we say about this?
Well, I'm glad you put it the way that you put it, because we sometimes we're a little bit soft in our approach to how we talk about this issue. But it's getting ridiculous. It's getting to a point where it baffles me. Why would you throw your kid to the wolves, into the lion's den, or whatever it is? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. And the thing is, there's that danger maybe of sounding like you're pointing fingers and judging parents or mothers who are not doing what we're doing, or the way we're doing it. However, I just don't see a logical conclusion that you can draw. And I share this all the time. When I was in my 20s, or before I even reached my 20s, and I was thinking about going to college, I thought about later getting married and thought about later having kids. Never in my wildest dreams did I factor in homeschooling. It wasn't part of the plan. It never even occurred to me. I actually, honestly, growing up, had never even heard of it. However, I did come to a point where I assessed the situation, and I thought about my kids, and I thought about their well-being. I thought about my family. I thought about our future. And I had a very honest conversation with my husband, and I said, I can't. And to be honest with you, I was crying at the time. I was like, I can't do this. I don't know about this homeschooling thing. It seems like I don't have the patience for this thing. But it was either I get some patience for my own kids, mind you. And again, that led me to another conversation with myself. If I'm saying I don't have the patience, I don't have the ability to homeschool my kids, and I'm their mother, I carried them in my womb, and I'm saying I don't have the patience for them, what more somebody who's not even their mother? What more somebody who's looking at them as a nuisance, as a disturbance, as an imposter who doesn't belong there? And they want to do everything that they can to take them out and put them in a different situation. They're looking at them through the scope of, this is an inferior kind of person. This is a person who doesn't belong here. This is a person who's disrupting. This is just a person who's unwanted. And you take your little baby and you throw them in there. I mean, I've dealt with some things myself in the workplace, and it was horrible. And I, again, had things that brought me down to my knees and crying and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, if this is what's happening to me and I'm an adult, what more a little kid? What's happening to this kid's psyche, their emotional, spiritual, everything, their well-being? I don't know. I'm done with being soft about my approach and talking about this.
Right. And the thing is, it's a matter of protection. We have to protect the kids. We keep saying that they're our future and that, you know, their lives matter and all of this, but we're not backing that up with action. And what we're doing here is not, I wouldn't even call it a hard approach, but it's a matter of encouraging and coaching you from the standpoint of people who have done it. And, you know, we're creating platforms to help you do it, to like say, okay, this is what I did. This is how I did it. At techcodeweb.com, when I go over technically teaching, like I'm going to even share what the platform looks like. Hold on 1 second. So when I go over that information, is to show you how, if you don't have teaching skills, you can still, you know, give your child a great education, technically teaching homeschool. All of the technology you can use. I mean, I have other things about business or whatever, but the thing is, and you give some step-by-step instructions on just how to homeschool, get in the process, the curriculum and all of that. So we're not trying to just point the finger and say, look, you know, whatever. I mean, some people say it's easier said than done. Of course, everything is easier said than done, but that doesn't mean not to do it. And we are providing steps to help you do it. But the other thing that we have to understand is that we're going to ever elevate above our oppression, we have to free the minds of our children. And we say this a lot, but what does that look like? We need to raise children that possess an allegiance and an admiration and respect for the African image, which is their image. And the image that they have to have the leadership skills to, you know, create a civilization and a society around. We have to help them understand African history in proper context. What we've developed throughout time, you know, being the first people on this planet, the civilizations that we've created, the math, speech, all of the inventions, we need them to understand who they are. The school can't do that for them. They will not do that for them. The children should be able to tell you everything about people like Marcus Garvey and his principles and his accomplishments, not Benjamin Franklin. They should be able to describe what white supremacy is, the tactics and theories that are used in white supremacy, because that is what we need to raise them to replace. And they should not fail the Dow test. Okay, if you put two Dows, a black one and a white one in front of your child, they should be able to accurately tell you about the black one and the history of that white one. And they should be prepared for high income careers in entrepreneurship. That's why I have a techco.net, because I, you know, talk to kids about, you know, having a technology mindset.
Absolutely. You hit on a lot of points there, because it's important to recognize that when you're thinking about taking your kids out of school, it's not just a one-step thing. It has a lot of ramifications. Like, for instance, if you're working a job, then you have to kind of think, okay, what am I going to do about the job? So then that brings in another conversation of entrepreneurship, or more flexibility, or working for yourself, working from home. It's an overhaul of your life. And it seems like a lot, or it may seem like a lot. But the truth is, we're equipped to do it, but we've been socialized to think that we can't.
Yeah.
To me, it's so ridiculous to think that I would get up in the morning, okay, as a mother, get up in the morning, okay, and my most important thing to do is to go somewhere, fight traffic, to go somewhere, to go make money for somebody else, to build somebody else's wealth. And in the process of, because I'm so committed to doing this, I'm going to make sure that my kids are thrown somewhere where I don't have to worry about them for some hours. Never mind what they're doing to them there, okay? Just put them there so that because I have to fulfill this very important thing of making money for somebody else. And it sounds ridiculous, obviously, the way I'm saying it, but that's really what it is. And I'm guilty, or have been guilty of doing that. I used to be so committed, got up at 4 a.m. and at 6 o'clock I was at my desk, you know? So it's not really that everybody is aware. I think that's what it is sometimes we're not really aware of really what we're doing every single day. And you only have one life. Your kids only have one life. And at some point, you have to stop and think, how am I going to construct it? I am the architect of this life, of my kids' life. How am I going to construct it? And if you had to construct it, the way it looks now, where you give your kids to somebody to abuse them and do bad things to them, and then you give yourself over to somebody to control your life and tell you, no, actually, I'm sorry your kid is sick, but we need you today because we're very busy. It just, to me, it stopped making sense. And again, I'll be the first to tell you, that was my aspiration years ago. It was to go somewhere and work and make that big check, climb that corporate ladder, do it and do it big. But I had a moment where I had to stop. And thank God it was when my kids were having an issue that I had to stop and say, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why am I not able to attend to my kids' issues at school? It's because I have to work. Oh, so work is more important than them? Is that, am I willing to say that? And I couldn't. And I had to stop. And I had to reorchestrate it. And it doesn't get more real than that. If you have that conversation with yourself and you still proceed, I don't know what to say about that.
Exactly. And it's not, again, we're not trying to be on a high horse. We're trying to encourage and inspire and let you know the real truth. Like, sisters, we have to take our kids and protect them at all costs. Because if your job or your boss said you had to do something, you would figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
If that teacher calls you and says, look, you know, Tavion has to have this and they have to do that, you're going to do it. And the thing is, you know, it's like, what message are we sending to our kids when we make them feel like we have to do what the teacher says? Like, I started realizing that my child was like afraid of the teacher. I'm like, look, that teacher works for me. I'm not afraid of her. Mommy, are you going to go in there and say this to Miss Becky? Yes, I am. I am. And you're going to come in here with me and watch me talk to her, because we are making them submissive to white supremacy. We don't understand that we are telling them in their mind that we are these people's slaves and we can't speak for ourselves and we have to do what they say. Like, I don't care what she put in that note. I'm not doing that. What? You're not doing what Miss Becky said, Mommy? Yes, Miss Becky, I'm her boss and you are her boss. So, I mean, it's a lot we can say about it.
It does. I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. It does require you to shift your mindset. Because the thing is, I mean, this is a topic I could talk forever on.
Yeah, okay? It is.
Because you have people thinking that they own your kids and telling you, writing you notes, telling you they should this and they should that. And you should be here and you should be that, and she didn't do this and she should that and this. And I'm thinking to myself, who are you talking to? And that's the thing. It's like you have to get back into that mindset. Every mom I talk to, because now I have a lot of moms who talk to me and they're like, what is the homeschooling thing? And I tell them, I said, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to do it yourself. You're going to start attacking your own confidence, and other people are going to start attacking your confidence. They're going to tell you you're not equipped. You're not educated enough.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing it. And even your own mind might start telling you that. And that's called insecurity, and it's temporary, and you can overcome it. And that's your first battle. But once you get over that battle, you will slay. You will become unstoppable, and you will raise unstoppable kids.
Yes, you will feel so good about yourself. I mean, it's the best decision I ever made. It's freeing for me and the kids. We sit there and look at the school bus when the kids I don't mean it like that. I'm so sorry. But the poor kids, they have to come home from school and they can't come outside because they have so much homework. And then in the mornings, it's early in the morning, they look like little zombies getting on that yellow school bus, all crowded together. And my kids are like, you know, hey, Mommy, so what's our homeschool plan? You know, we're going to the aquarium for a homeschool lesson. You know, it's just like, you know, my son was like, man, it's kind of sad. The kids are going back to school. You know, I was like, yeah, it is.
And another thing to point out, Shaquita, is, you know, a large part of school, what they call school, you're going to find that the latest research shows that a lot of time is spent now with the teachers trying to manage behavior. They're not even teaching the kids as much anymore. They come on, line up, get in here, sit down, go over here, do this, do that. They're not really learning, at least not anything that they couldn't learn. You can learn how to listen and how to follow instructions when you're at home. Then the second thing is there's so much process in school, whereas when you're at home, you're just getting up and you have a plan with your family about what you're going to do. You could finish that plan in 3 hours, even 2 hours sometimes. My kids sometimes have zoomed through school and I'm like, wait a minute, let me check to make sure you've done everything because it's too quick. And the reason why is because there isn't all this tape of get in here, do this, do that, go there, be quiet, managing all this and all this other stuff. You don't have to deal with all those things. And the thing is, again, I can't reiterate enough. Who told us that we had to do all that? Why?
Now, this video is going to be so long, but again, like you said, there's so much to be said, and that's why we have those series at yours is homeschooling at the Black Business School, right?
At the Black Business School, the URL is thehomeschoolguide.com.
The homeschoolguide.com.
I'm sorry, it's the blackhomeschoolguide.com, because again, it is specific for Black parents. And it's basically just me sitting the way I'm sitting right here and going through the whole process of while your kid is in school, these are the things that you need to start doing and thinking about. You address the laws, because there are laws and there are rules and regulations that you have to abide by depending on which state that you're in. And then, you know, the whole process, choosing the curriculum, overcoming those confidence hurdles, everything that all the way up until, you know, the first day when you decide to go for it.
Okay, and then mine is at atechoweb.com, and it talks about the technology I use, because sometimes I am away and I have, you know, I have a lot of different ways that I manage it, because I still work full time and I have businesses and my husband works. So I talk about ways that I use technology to help with that. And not only that, is I was one of those people who says I'm not very patient with being a teacher. So, and I wanted to find ways to automate the documentation and things like that. But the last thing I will say is we have to stop giving so much credit to the European school system. We feel like if a European said it was good, it's great. You know, we put more credibility in the full system that they created than a system that we can create ourselves. And that summarizes our entire plight in this oppressive system. We constantly relegate leadership and authority about the way we live our lives to other people, and we refuse to demand that we take that back. And we ingrain the same thing in our children. Okay, I know this video is so long. Noma, do you have any final words?
No, just go ahead and close this out because we've been talking for a while.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Please, you know, again, go and register at these sites. You can register for free. God forbid if we get censored or anything, we want to be able to keep in contact with you. So thanks for watching. See you on the next segment.
Thank you guys, and thanks, Shaquita.